think it's the lack of Monster Hunter Wild news that worries me. I mean, they specifically said, we're going to give you news in summer. Why would you be worried? But anyways, that's a nice segue. Let's talk about Monster Hunter. Hunters, you've helped the Monster Hunter series reach the milestone of 100 million units sold worldwide. Thank you to everybody for your support and over the last 20 years. We hope you're looking forward to the next generation of hunting with Monster Hunter Wilds in 2025. 100 million units for our little niche game that has been going more and more mainstream, am I right? But that's not all. We're excited to share that Monster Hunter Rise and Sunbreak have now sold more than 15 million and 8 million units worldwide. Here's to all your hunters who safeguard Kimura and clash with the Curio. We don't like curio crafting though, bro. Curio crafting ain't it? But Sunbreak and Rise have also been absolutely phenomenal. Now, one of the things that I would like to point out in regards to Monster Hunter is that despite the fact that we've reached this, I believe that World is coming up on almost 30 million units by now. I don't know exactly how many it's sold. We can actually check real quick. Over 25 million units worldwide. Over 25 million sales of Monster Hunter World. And here's the interesting thing. We could have sold a lot more. We could have sold, and I say we could have sold, I mean Capcom could have sold a lot more. This was reported, by the way, on March 12th. But Capcom could have actually sold a lot more units than 25 million. They could have sold a lot more units than 25 million. And the thing about that is, if you guys remember, when it came to the release of Monster Hunter World, first it released on PlayStation 4 and Xbox. It took them a very long time before they actually released on PC. Let me see how long it was. January 2018. Yeah, it was like the 21st or 28th or something like that. But yeah, January 2018. Windows version following August 2018. So that was a 7-month lag between versions of the game. 7-month lag between the console version of the game and the PC version of the game. And even when they released the PC version of the game, it was not updated to the same level as the consoles. And this is one of the things that I feel like a lot of companies actually underestimate the power of day and date. They really underestimate this, and it definitely showed with Monster Hunter World, because we could have sold more, but at the same time, we could have also sold less. Now, for those of you that aren't too familiar with the Monster Hunter franchise, maybe you came in during Monster Hunter World or something like that, so you aren't aware, but Monster Hunter used to be first re-released in Japan, and then a year later, you might get another version to the West. And that's not all the time, because sometimes what would end up happening is like they would skip one of the base versions of the game, and then they would only release the ultimate version when it came to the West. That's also something that happened for a lot of Monster Hunter releases. So it was even more than 1 year delay before getting from Japan over to the West. And again, that really kind of like lowers your sales figures, because gamers in general value day and date way more than people give it credit for. Which is something that I've noticed. Like, a lot of these publishers, right, they'll release games later on the PC platform, or they'll release later on some other console platform or something like that because of some temporary exclusivity deal. And the reality is, you lose way more sales than you initially predict, because the amount of buzz that you get for a day-and-date release is phenomenal. And this was instantly proven just with the global release of Monster Hunter World, which was, in my opinion, is one of the main reasons why it was as good as it was. I mean, obviously, it's also a very good game, but, you know, besides it being a good game, I would wager that one of the biggest factors in how big it was simply global release for consoles. And keep in mind, that wasn't day and date in PC. If they had done Monster Hunter World day and date PC and consoles, I would argue that by now they would have sold 40 million units instead of 25. I would argue they would sold way more units. And it was the same thing for Rise and Sunbreak. Rise and Sunbreak was actually even worse, and you can kind of see that they suffered in terms of sales because of it, because they sold 15 million of Rise and 8 million units of Sunbreak, but it suffered even more because first it was exclusive on Switch, then it was Switch and PC, and only later it became Switch, PC, and consoles. Now, I'm super happy that the game is now everywhere and everybody can enjoy it, but there's no denying that you miss out on the whole community vibe of everybody playing the game at the same time, regardless of platform. It didn't even need crossplay, which it still doesn't have, even though that would have been a fantastic feature to have. Crossplay, cross-save, cross-progression, all of that good stuff, right? Those would have been fantastic things to have. But it didn't even need that. It just needed to release simultaneously on all platforms, because just the whole discourse online would have been more powerful and would have ensured even more sales for them. And again, it is the power of day and date, and a lot of people underestimate the power of day and date. And that is one of the things that is going to be coming with Monster Hunter Wilds. It is going to be releasing on all platforms simultaneously, and I predict that that is going to be potentially the biggest release ever for a Monster Hunter game. They would have to mess up phenomenally in the marketing of this game to not achieve the best ever debut of a Monster Hunter game, because it's coming off of the accolades of Monster Hunter World and Iceborne. At the same time, there's also Rise and Sunbreak, even though those were not quite as well embraced by certain people in the community, which is understandable because not everybody understands that, you know, Monster Hunter hasn't always been like Monster Hunter World. They've always had like these more handheld type of titles, and that is actually what made the game as big as it is. But fundamentally, Wilds, I predict, is going to be the biggest launch ever of Monster Hunter, and now it's just up to the team to actually deliver a phenomenal game. We still don't know a lot of information about it. We're supposed to be getting news around the summer. We shall see how that stuff pans out, but I'm excited. I'm excited, dude. I think it's going to be awesome.